Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
I mean, it's like you're on.
Yeah. And you're listening to Live from the Path, coming from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper.
Kazow!
It's good to be with you on this, I don't know, it could be the final evening of 2022. We got one more. No, we got one more.
I thought you were saying like the world is about to end.
World.
Like, are we doing some end times tonight?
Yeah, I suppose.
Anybody hear trumpet blasts?
I suppose it could be.
I almost bought a yak.
You almost bought
Not a
sign of
yak.
the end times.
The horn.
Dan almost bought a yak horn.
Oh man, I was looking at him. Then I thought, I buy so many things that are stupid, and then I don't ever do anything with them. But oh man,
This is where you drew the line? 'Cause
That's
I
a
feel like
conscious
this-
choice, man. I feel like that's the easiest thing to do something with is a yak horn.
But I mean,
Just hang out.
oh, it's so cool. Yeah. But I
Dang
didn't.
it.
I didn't.
I'm upset that you didn't get it.
Okay, it's Christmas is around the corner. I can
You've
still buy
seen
myself
so many
that.
hats and flannels that you've decided to buy. Yet once you see a zebu horn or the yak horn, you go, nah.
My
no
family would
utility
be
to it.
excited for me to open that under the tree. Okay, I'm going to look right now while
Okay,
you guys
yeah,
are talking.
Dan-
That'd be killer.
I'm encouraging of this. I think
Yes.
this is a great idea. Hey, what's the worst? Like, have you ever bought someone a Christmas present and you thought this is going to be freaking awesome and they're going to love it, and then it totally tanked?
Oh, man. Bought something for somebody that tanked.
Yeah,
I did something for my brother when I was a kid that was really bad. I mean,
Did you buy him a yak horn?
well, no, we had a sister who died like before
Uh-huh.
we were born.
yeah.
But she still had toys in our toy box, and I thought it was hilarious. I took a little nurse doll that was hers, and I wrapped it up, and I gave, I gave it to my brother.
Dan! What?
I was a kid.
I don't care.
And I thought this is gonna be the greatest reaction ever, and it talk about
Here's our deceased
it was
sister's
terrible.
toy.
Yeah. Who does that?
You.
I did. But I won't buy a yak horn.
I don't think any of us have an answer to this question anymore based
yeah,
off
sorry.
of Dan's.
Sorry.
I gave my deceased sister's doll to my brother.
Like to schedule little Daniel for some time with the counselor.
Oh, sweet. Moses.
Okay,
Oh, man.
How young? Like, how young were you? Do you know?
Probably third grade or something.
Oh, that's way older than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah,
I don't know why I
sorry.
felt like that was a 5-year-old move.
Well,
That was
no.
an 8-year-old Dan.
Yeah, that was someone who knew
I was
he
22.
really would have known, should have known better. But
Right.
Oh.
sometimes I do things I think are hilarious that no one else thinks
Okay,
is hilarious.
and the yak horn. There we
It
are.
started young.
Yeah.
My not in my situation, but like my uncle Brad, who was like vehemently against Jesus, like hated Jesus,
Yeah.
and was totally atheist, hated my dad because he loved Jesus, got my dad this like Anglo-Saxon Catholic Jesus nightlight and said, now, Jesus brings light into your life. Now he literally can in any room that you put him in. And he thought it was going to be the best thing ever and make fun of my dad. My dad was like, I love it. I love this nightlight. And I remember until the day he died, we had that Cathol nightlight in our living room. We put that on every single night.
As I recall, he also got him a roller skating Jesus.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He got a roller skating Jesus and then a thing called Buddy Christ, which is
Oh, from the Dogma
from
movie.
Dogma, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had the figurine of Buddy Christ that we had in our house, and my dad loved it. He put it on his desk, and that was our legitimate hallway nightlight. Was Cathol was the Anglo-Saxon Jesus.
Okay. Nathaniel, you ever bought someone thought it was going to go over well, but it really tanked?
When we first got married, my wife would like on the side do like some small photography stuff for people.
Yeah.
Because she had a fairly nice camera, and so I said to myself, here's a fledgling business. I'm gonna get a bunch of really high grade camera equipment and like all these little umbrellas or whatever they use, and I'm gonna gift them to her because she seems really into this photography stuff.
Yeah.
And she returned it all.
Oh no!
Like a week later, she said, "Yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't like it that much."
What about you?
Okay.
I was trying to think. I feel like I bought a small appliance
Oh no.
for my wife at
That's the
some
worst
point or
move.
another, and like, so
Use
here's
this for me.
I don't even think actually. Okay, my wife doesn't listen to the show, so she won't hear it. But like, so this my kids keep trying to have me buy her an air fryer
Yeah.
for Christmas. They're like, she's gonna really like this. I said, look here, I cannot buy her an appliance. I just can't. I don't care if it's a good idea. And they're
Right.
like, well, it can be from us. I'm like, I hear what you're saying. I just
But
I
it's not how it
can't.
works.
I cannot be involved in an appliance purchase. I've done this before, and it's very vague in my mind what I purchased, but it wasn't good.
Right.
Is it a Vitamix?
I did get her a Vitamix, but that was well received.
Oh,
Was it like a toaster oven?
She was excited about that. I don't think so. I don't remember what it was. Whatever it was
Right.
ill.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but the premise of my question was you thought it was going to be whiz bang and it didn't go well, and I'm pretty sure in the back of my mind I thought you this is not going to go well. You have to be better than maybe it's a magic bullet.
Oh,
or
nice.
something like that.
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Oh,
Dan.
quite sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
was say I did do that to my wife. I forgot about this one.
Oh, jeez.
Because she was pregnant with Danielle, our first child.
Yeah.
And Danielle was born in January, so this is December, right? So she's toward the end, and she was just all she would complain about was how oh man, I've gained weight, blah 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 blah, all
Oh
this
no,
stuff.
Dan.
And I'm thinking, man, what would a loving husband do but get her an exercise bike?
Oh no.
I got her the best exercise bike on the
Final
market.
month of her
I was
pregnancy.
so excited. I thought, man, I am listening to her. I am dialed in to what she really wants.
Babe, you really want to get rid of that baby weight, right?
man, oh boy, that I heard about that for years.
Oh, I'm super excited to live vicariously through you, so I don't ever
oh,
make that mistake.
don't do that. Don't
Oh,
do
jeez.
that.
I tell you, the not to answer your question, but like the best Christmas gift I ever got, that was one of the funniest things I ever got, was my grandmother, my Nana, is my dad's mom, when I was maybe 15. Now, we all know the boo was not a small man, whatever. When I was a teenager, I was also not small. My Nana got me a self-help book titled Uh-Oh. in big red letters on a green book. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Conversations from both sides of the refrigerator door.
Oh
no.
dear. Oh dear.
And she handed this to me with a confidence that was just on a different level that I'd ever seen before. Hi, sweetie. Here's your Christmas gift. I'm like, thanks,
You're gonna
Nana.
love this.
I can tell this is a book. I love reading. Maybe my Nana got me a fun sci-fi book or something that I can really get into. Nope. Uh-oh. Conversations for both sides of the refrigerator door. And it really was a you're too fat and should figure this out self-help book. And it wasn't even a good one. Like, it looked like she found it in a discount Goodwill bin from like 1948 and was just like, yeah, I'm getting this for my grandson Troy.
Oh,
Oh
man.
gosh. When my dad and mom were looking at me when I opened it up, and like I could see that we were all trying to just be normal people and just be like, all right, she's an old woman with no class at all. Like, she's trying to be loving, and this is the only way she can figure it out. But I could not control my laughter as I'm like, I'm gonna have the best fat guy story of all time forever because I have the 15-year-old Uh-Oh book that most people don't get a chance to have because most grandmas are just like, yeah, he knows.
He knows.
Like, he doesn't wake
Yeah.
up every morning and go, what? What? When did this happen? Like, what? And so, yeah, Uh-Oh. I still try to find that book every once in a while. I never want to, like, Google it and buy it off Amazon or anything. I just want to find it at a Goodwill.
Wanna have
and
it,
just,
see it in the
and
wild.
just chuckle on it. Yeah, exactly. So.
Boy, I feel like does someone make a wrapping paper with little figurines that have the words "I lack discernment" on the outside, just so I would buy it personally, just so I could hand the gift over and say, "I'm just warning you.
There's a good chance it's going to hit wrong.
I'm not discerning."
I'm thinking this is great, but you may not.
You got 2 minutes of thought and a credit card swipe. Here you
Yeah,
go.
I'm not a good. Here's the deal: I'm a good at settling gift quandaries. Like my wife will have will pick out 15 things
Yeah.
and go like, which one of these? And I'm like, I'm great at this. That one done.
You're killer in a multiple choice.
Yes, I know how to answer boxed in questions, but like
Freeform, rough stuff.
just open season. Actually, so we've talked before about trying to build a house at some point, and like I just can't imagine. It's too much. It's too much. Like I can look at if you give me like a bare bones house that already exists, it's crumbling apart. I could go, okay, these are my confines.
Yeah.
I can work within this. But if you said, look, open forum, you can
Right.
do whatever you want. I've played Minecraft. I don't use the freedom in Minecraft well. I still build a big box, a giant box, and then I look at it and go, okay, now these are my confines. How can I work within these constraints?
Man,
I
that's
work
awesome.
by constraint. I don't do presents within. Nathaniel, would you say have you improved over the years at gift giving?
Yes, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, is that
No.
yours to say?
Nothing that I've gotten her. I think as a Christmas or birthday gift in my memory, other than that, has been like totally shunned and returned.
Okay.
Oh, dang. You know, I didn't give a Christmas gift, but I gave, I think, an anniversary gift to my wife that I thought was probably one of the more clever and thoughtful things I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because it was trying to be cutesy, because she doesn't really care about, like, if I spend money. She's not super worried about having more stuff. Like, we just don't have the room for it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, and we were very broke for the first bit of our marriage, admittedly. And so it kind of just turned into, what's the cutesy thing Troy can do? Like, can I make a nice meal for her, or like do a cute card or whatever? And I went to like a Michael's, and I got these like collect a ticket wooden things that I like made coupons on, right?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be these cute little things, like here's a coupon for a free 30-minute massage, or here's a coupon for a date night. Your choice, fancy or not, whenever you want, redeem it, and I have to do it kind of thing. And there were 12 of them because I wanted it to be one for every month of the year, and I thought it was super cute. And I was like, I put a lot of thought into it. They look trash because my handwriting is that of a 4-year-old rhinoceros.
Yep.
But like, they were great. And I got this little box to put them in, and I gave them to her. And she was like, oh my gosh, I love these. Thank you so much. It's been 2 years now, and she has not used a single one of those coupons.
Oh yeah.
Like,
They
she's
never
not
use 'em.
redeemed
No.
one.
Yeah,
No.
they feel guilty.
Yep.
What?
They won't do it.
The
That's
whole
right.
point
I did
was
it
for
too.
her to
I've
just
done it
be
before.
served.
Yeah.
I
No.
know.
Yeah, the kids
Yeah.
the kids have got me stuff multiple times, and I always feel I don't feel right about using them. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, we'll clean the living room. I'm like, I mean, I can clean the living room. I don't know.
Dang it.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
a
I mean,
guy's
I
perspective.
thought it was awesome, and it went
Yeah.
over killer for about 30 minutes. Then
Yeah.
we never talked about it
Here-
again until I cleaned off the junk drawer and went, hey, these are the things that I put a lot of thought into, actually. Do you remember these? And then she's like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't, like, I just never use it.
I think it's similar to like if having someone tell you when they need help, right? Like after a medical event or something like that. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
people just don't tend to volunteer it.
Right, you just got,
I think it's a similar thing where like you're like, oh man, I really appreciate the thought, but like it feels like you handed them a coupon book and then go, now admit you're being selfish when you hand one of these.
weird.
It's not what you're
I mean, I
after
get
at
it.
all, and may not be even someone's hang up, but like ultimately, I think if you don't, you're always at your best option to just do things.
I was going to say, I have to redeem them for her.
Yeah. Hey, it's Tuesday, massage coupon night. You're turning it in.
Dang it. All right, that's fair. I'm going to do that
I
in
think that's the way to do
2023.
it.
Those are the 12 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to do all 12 of them.
You had one per month?
Well, yeah, I did. So it was just supposed to be like one for the whole year because it was an anniversary thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was
yeah.
supposed to be
Okay.
a year-themed thing.
Okay.
And I think the year or the theme of the year for your first anniversary is like wood or something. I don't know. So I made the wooden tickets. Don't look at me like that.
Wood.
You can, by the
look
way,
like that.
buy the book on Amazon,
Yes, you can.
$8.99.
Hey, that's still going
Paperback.
strong.
Dang, you know what? You shouldn't have told me. You should have just bought it and sent it to our house. I would show up at the door. It's there. I'm like, Nana.
Nana.
Nana passed away 7 years ago.
Uh-oh.
Just sign it, love, Nana.
I set this up to be delivered because I knew you were still going to be pretty rough in 22. Oh, geez.
You haven't figured it out yet, have you?
So I am interested if you guys want to share on the complaint line, 515-517-0085, call or text. Let me know either one. Have you ever bought a gift that you just thought was going to be righteous and it was terrible? Or
Tanked.
someone got something for you and you could tell that they thought they nailed it and they did not nail it. I'd be interested to hear either one of those things. That's live from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085.
That's call or text,
That's
right?
call
or
or text. Either one is going to be just fine.
It's creepy that you leaned into the microphone and said that all quiet like.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
That's
it
how
is.
it's supposed to be done.
You don't get to tell me whether or not it's creepy.
Yeah, no, it's not. All right. So quick side story. I've been looking for an oven. I don't know what happened. My house fell apart over the last week and a half.
No.
So, like, there was a leak underneath our sink, and so water got kind of everywhere, and so it got into the tile, and then it got underneath the subfloor. So it all had to be replaced. So we got all the stuff churned up. Now there's nice wood floors underneath it, except for whatever glue they used to put this kind of linoleum on top of it after the house was built. The house was built like in 1908. So it's full of asbestos is the long and short of it. So you got to be careful about taking it out, right? Like you can't just go in there with a hammer and just start tearing the joint up. So anyway, I finally get the place torn up. We're moving our fridge in and out so that I can replace the subfloor back there. And then I don't know if you guys ever have hooked up or seen a water line that goes to your ice maker for the fridge, but it tends to be like a real bendy piece of copper. So if it's bent already, you leave it.
Yeah.
You don't unbend because you've probably, although like it got irritated one way, you try to put it back, it's going to put a hole in it. So I knew this. My wife did not. And it was like 2 a.m. And so she goes, "Oh, this is bent," and then start to unbend it. And you could see me slow motion. So she unbends it whole. Okay, so now there's water. There's going to be water dripping from this thing. And so you got to unhook it. Now, again, if you've ever hooked up something to your water line, it's like this thing that you twist in that pokes like a hole in the copper.
Yeah.
Right? And so I didn't have a concept of this. I think I could have handled this much better, but at the time I thought, like, well, I got to take it out of there.
Right.
And so I take because otherwise it's just going to keep sending water through the bent pipe. And so I take it off, and now there's obviously a hole in the water pipe. And so, long story short, I have no water. I tried to patch it with some putty. Don't laugh at me. I tried to put some putty on it. I said, this is going to hold me for a while. Held for about 20 minutes, and then started shooting water everywhere. At the same time, same day, there's guys trying to remediate radon at my house because, like, our radon is just outrageous. There's kids growing tails and things at my house. And so we're getting the radon remediated. Moving a stove in and out for the same purpose. Something happens where they go to plug it back in, and there's, like, a spark. And now, like, the top of the stove works, but the oven does not. Okay? Also, the dryer stopped drying.
Good heavens.
It stopped.
Good heavens.
It stopped drying. And so like the water and the oven were out at the same time. And so my wife was out Christmas shopping, and like I don't like to bother. She doesn't leave the house very often on her own.
Yeah.
And so like for no reason do I try to contact my wife when she's out. I say, you leave her. She needs to think that things are going just fine here. Nobody texts or anything. And so we're like getting water from the well to try so that we can like wash potatoes, cooking them. Try to cook them for a family of 6 in an Instapot. It was rough. It was rough. It was a rough go of it. So anyway, I'm trying to sort out all that. I got a part coming for the dryer. I got I replaced the section of the water line that I needed to replace, but I'm out looking for an oven. Because I tested this oven because I think I'm going to use my skills. I got one of those Nathaniel's. I got the multimeter. I'm like checking the lines. I said beep beep. Thing's going to run. Yeah. And so everything checks out. For the life of me, I can't figure out what the problem is, except for maybe this main computer on the oven. And so I order a new one or a refurb from the eBay. I said, fine, I'm just going to swap it out, $35, pick it up. I put it in, nothing, same behavior. I said, I can't do it. It's Christmas time. It's baking season. The oven's got to run. Okay, so I'm out. I'm looking at scratch and dents. You guys see my text from earlier today?
Yeah.
You did.
Okay, the Lowe's. It's the place to go for the scratch and dents. Anyway.
Wait, you said Lowe's?
Lowe's.
All right, good.
Lowe's.
Isn't there a store called Scratch and Dent?
Yes, I tried to go there. They're closed on Mondays.
Oh.
This is what I'm saying. They
Daggone.
work like Italians. Like they're not like an Italian restaurant. They're not there on Mondays.
What?
Italian restaurants tend to be closed Sunday, Monday. It's not an ethnic slur.
Okay.
515-517-0085.
That's on par with Mike's Hoobadoo.
Well, I mean, what? Our Italian restaurants are not closed on Mondays. They are.
I mean, I go to the Olive Garden. They're open Monday.
You're not Italian. It's like the Outback Steakhouse being Australian.
Yeah,
Anyway, keep going, Ben.
Anyway, I'm looking for scratch and dent appliances today. I went to 2 different Lowe's, and the first 2, like they had something I wanted, but one would look like it was taken, and the other one was ugly, but it was reasonably priced. So I'm going to go to one more Lowe's. I go to one more Lowe's. This is before the show tonight, and I go in there, and there's like nobody on the floor, nobody on the shop floor, and so I'm looking around, and I'd like start checking. And I finally find one red-shirted individual like 4 aisles down. And I went to go ask him, say, hey, can you call someone over to the appliance area? And the guy looks at me and goes, can't do it. I'm like, what do you mean you can't do it? Can you help me then in the compliance area? He goes, no, man, I got to cover the whole store. I can't do it. Like, this is not making any sense to me. Why would you have to cover the whole store? I just need someone to help me with this scratch and dent appliance. And he goes, everybody left. I said, what do you mean? There's no way.
They're all
I
gone.
thought it was the weather because the weather's bad. And he goes, so I suggested as such. Oh, they said the weather getting bad. Everybody got to head out. He goes, no, man. No, the Pope is in town.
Whew.
I said, the Pope?
That happens all the time.
I said, there's no way the Pope is in town. That's just not possible.
Right.
And he goes, look, I'm the only non-Catholic guy here. He goes, I worship horses. I don't even believe in a God that looks like a human.
Worship horses.
like a Pegasus-looking thing. I didn't ask a lot of questions. I had bigger problems, bigger fish to fry. I can't fry them because I don't have an oven. Anyway, he goes, I said, tell me more about this Pope thing. I need some help. And he goes, I believe they went to this place. He wrote down, had the address, and I looked at the address, and I'll be movie. You'll never guess it. You never guess it where the Pope is at.
Where's he at?
It's in Nathaniel's house.
What?
I saw the address, and I said, and Nathaniel even has moved recently. I don't know if the Pope, maybe he was trying to visit whoever was there before,
Maybe.
but I don't know. But anyway,
Nathaniel's house is a basilica now.
it said that the Pope is there. So I went to Nathaniel's house, and there were like all kinds of people waiting out on his lawn, and it's cold. And I must have seen 28 red vests. Like the whole Lowe's from this area was out on Nathaniel's lawn. And I said, oh, holy cats. The Pope, Nathaniel let me in. I said, what's going on here, man? He goes, I think the Pope is here. I said, is the Pope legit here? He's like, no, man.
Nope.
No way. I said, how are you going to get these people to go away? He said, I got to give them some sort of Pope-style advice. I got to tell them something like the Pope would. Walk out on the balcony, give them a piece of advice, something that seems like relevant to me and relevant to them, and then they'll leave because the Pope spoke. And so that's what I'm going to do. I said, okay, Nathaniel, what did you tell him?
What I said was I told him a tale. I told him a real fine tale.
A parable?
A parable.
Okay.
A tale of a few months ago. I was at work, and it was a gusty day across the Midwestern plains, and the wind was blowing something fierce. And there's a sign outside of the building that I work at, and it's a giant blue smile of sorts. And I was notified, because I'm in building maintenance, that the sign looked like it was falling off of the building.
Oh.
And so I went out there to check, and sure enough, the sign, you could see two of the bolts that were supposed to have the sign in the building were out of the building. And so I said, okay, it's time to pony up and get in the lift. And, first I had to talk to safety, because the wind gusts were over 30 miles per hour, and they wanted to make sure I was going to not fall out of the bucket.
Yeah.
And I didn't. So we, after much deliberation, we took the lift up there, and I got up underneath that sign, and I looked across it, and there's about 15 bolts that are supposed to be holding this in.
Yep.
And there are 3 that are still holding it on the wall. And the first thing I thought was, I should probably get out from underneath of this. Because the next strong gust that comes on is going to tip my lift over as this 800-pound sign falls on top of me. And my next thought was, this is a great Pope-style advice. Yeah. You may think, how could that be a Pope-style advice?
Right.
3 concrete bolts. And I thought to myself, in an organization, in any sort of group of people, just 3 dudes holding on, doing the right thing, it can make a big difference. And I've actually found that out recently. I've had some, somewhat of a family health crisis, would you call it?
Yeah.
And out of the the people in my life, there's been just a few people that have without them, I'd be in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is only the second time I've ever done a Pope style, and the first time was also very short.
Short
but
and sweet.
I'm not a blowhard like the rest of these fellas.
That's fair. That cuts me deep and righteous.
Yeah, half the time Ben's introduction of the Pope style ends up
Yeah.
being longer
Hey,
than the Pope
the
style.
irony is missed on you, sir. The
Listen.
irony is missed on you. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
Yeah, you're a blowhard too. What I'm saying is, sometimes in the past, I felt like, not just most times at work, where people are like, I look around and I say, I'm the only one doing some good things around here. And I shouldn't really, put you down, because if you're the only one doing something good, then just keep on doing it.
Right.
Because maybe you're the only one holding things together. Who
Right,
knows?
right.
You're probably not. There's probably other people doing stuff too.
Yeah.
So don't pat yourself on the back too hard, but just keep doing the good work.
Uh-huh.
And then also when it comes to family stuff and spiritual stuff, sometimes it's hard to just keep going when you feel like you're not making a whole lot of progress or gains.
Yep.
When who knows? Maybe you're the dude who's just holding it together. You just got to keep plugging away.
Uh-huh.
Just keep holding on, holding the 800-pound sign up. Because if you don't, could kill someone.
Dropping the heavy at the end there.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for like feeling like you have to own the entire context of your effectiveness when you don't.
Right.
And it's a fair thing, because often we want to answer an internal question, which is am I making any difference? Does it matter the things that I'm doing, whether it's a work thing, whether it's a relationship thing, whether it's a kingdom thing? Either way, we're like, is what I do matter? But like, I think it's a good point to say, like, some of that's a perspective that's just beyond you. Like, you wouldn't know whether that's true or not. And like, oftentimes the things where it feels like you're not are the types of things you can touch, where the intangibles, where you're impacting people positively or holding down the fort. Like, if you're the one bolt, you may not know that the other 10 are loose on the other side.
Right.
Like, you may or may not know that. And so, like, there is something about just being the old steady Eddie during a strong gust, not knowing that you're actually even carrying much more than what you'd expect. But without your effort and your kind of without the steadfastness, things could have gone much worse.
Sign falls.
Yeah. So I think there's an encouragement in that.
Just also, I don't know why it came up in my brain when I was looking at these things, but it was like, no one has ever thought about these bolts before.
Mm-hmm.
No one has walked in and applauded these bolts and said, thank you, 3 bolts. Thank you.
Yeah.
And most of the time, you're just looking for a little pat on the back, a little pat on the head.
Yep.
And you don't get it. And you feel down.
Uh-huh.
And you're a bolt, man.
Yeah.
Holding on there.
I think that's actually super important. And if you're keeping a notebook, I know half of you are. So this is for your Ben's notebook. Things Ben says you should focus on in 2023 from Ben. Is being thankful for the work of the bolt. Is that like sometimes it feels like we have to be thankful for like above and beyond, but like. To take as the bolt as an example, like, it can't do more than what it is. Like, it's just doing what it's supposed to do, and that's what it's supposed to do. That's how it impacts the world. And like, I think as humans, especially the closer relationships we get into, we have expectations out of people, and we only notice or say anything when they've either gone above and beyond them significantly, or if they failed them. But like, there's no acknowledgement of steadfastness. Which is a failure to recognize that in a stiff gust of wind, it takes something to be steadfast. It takes something to hold a consistency when the environment around you is shifting, and when the people and relationships around you are shifting. Like, there is something to that for someone not to notice, and it's not it's easy to miss. It's easy to miss. Because your day-to-day normal things start to interact with other people's normal things, and you neglect to realize that normal takes effort, or consistent takes effort is probably a better way to say it. So anyway, like, I mean, if we could just be people in 2023 who are like just grateful, we're full of gratitude, and we look around and even for things that are assumed or expected, and like, am I grateful this morning that my car started? Am I grateful this morning that I actually got to see the same person at the same gas station for 6 weeks in a row? Like, what? Hey, it's a friendly face. It's a known face. I'm glad they're here. I'm glad I'm here and I got to see them. Like, There is there's a quote that I would screw up, but it's just like it was talking about the effectiveness of prayer, and there was the combination of kind of earnestness, humility, and gratitude. Like, because where you're not grateful for things, you actually tend to miss ways in which God has moved in your life because you presumed them, like you're owed some of those things. And so, like, being able to have gratitude for, yes, all those external things, but like think of the million things that my wife does in a given day or week that never gets any acknowledgement from me, because I'm like, well, that's my wife. That's what she does. And like vice versa. Like, fellas, like maybe you've got things, generally speaking, you're the garbage man. You haul the stuff out to the garbage. Do you need someone following you around all the time going, that's a great job, man. That's a way to go, putting that garbage in? Probably not all the time. But like, you tell me once every 3 months, 6 months, someone, a wife or even heaven forbid, a child goes, Dad, I see you always grab that garbage. Thanks for taking care of that for us. Like, you would sail on a single compliment for months because someone just acknowledged something that you did that otherwise generally goes by. And so I remember thinking, sometimes in my marriage where I felt like, man, I just feel like I can't get anything right, and no one acknowledges anything. Like maybe my wife doesn't notice that I even do anything. I'm trying to do them for her, and she doesn't even seem to notice. And then that it always hits me right after that. It's like, when is the last time did you say something to your wife? Like, think what all that. Like, are you giving the thing that you're needing? Don't you think she probably needs?
Right.
Don't you think the people that you work with or for probably could use some of that too? Don't you think the person at all the different places you interact with, or your church family, like, I mean, this is helpful. You just get a little bit of a sale, so someone goes, "Hey, man, thanks for being you and doing the stuff that you do." Like, I feel like it's just an easy lift to be looking for that kind of thing, and so maybe I let that your Pope style advice just it reminds me of how important that is and how easy I get real jazzed about it, and then I let it go. It's gone again because again I just have a presumption of how my life is supposed to work. That guy's yes, it's that guy's job to bring the mail to me. I mean, of course it is, but like, aren't I thankful for it? I don't have to go drive and get mail.
Right.
Stuff just shows up at my house. Like, I'm thankful. Even like the app review, I can deposit checks on my phone. I mean, they've been able to do it for years, right? But I mean, every once in a while, I feel like I can just go to the app developer and go, "Hey, this is great. Thank you. Thanks for making this available." Like, it's just a gratitude as opposed to just presumption about what my life is to be like, and recognize that there's people and effort and time behind all the things that I expect as normal. You don't cash your check via the app, Booba?
I do sometimes. Just very interesting to go, "Hey, mailman," who I'm right next to. I appreciate what you're doing. "Hey, app developer that has worked on my USA Bank app. Here's a 4-star review.
Hey.
Great job."
Now,
Like, and hold those things is the same thought.
Same.
It made me laugh.
it
makes sense. It just made me
it's
laugh.
an all-around gratitude.
Get off my lawn.
Cool. Sounds like we had 2 popes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you showed up from the Lowe's to help me out with this.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You know how
was gonna
short-winded
say.
I am.
Yeah.
I mean, historically, there has been a time where there were 2 popes. It was pretty rough, but it happened.
No,
So,
I'm a cardinal. It's like Cardinal Foods. Pope Carson and Cardinal Foods. Tag team.
oh, boy. Oh, man.
All right.
Rough stuff.
All right, thanks for hanging out with us. Hey, I don't know, maybe you guys are thinking ahead on 2023, and you've got maybe I'd be interested to hear not just the thing that you thought of, maybe, but like, I don't know, if you've been just thinking ahead and praying ahead and say, I think God's drawing this to my attention, and like the first of the year is arbitrary, but it's a good place to start as any on some stuff. And so I don't know, I'd just be interested if you guys want to share that with us. You can again, Live from the Path complaint and or counsel line. 515-517-0085. Call or text. I'll be glad to hear from you, and just be interested in what you don't even think put in the bucket of formality of New Year's resolution, but like, hey, I feel like God's stirring this thing as a reminder for me, because maybe other people can benefit from it. We'd love to hear it, and maybe share if we have your permission.
Dig it.
Okay, Booba, let's give out some advice.
All right. Dear Live from the Path, my husband of 2.5 years was having an affair with a much younger woman for what I believe was about 2 months. I never suspected. It ended because he got caught. I was devastated and asked him to leave that night. He always seemed uninterested in sex, and when we had sex, it was quick. He had difficulty performing, so of course, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
We went to marriage counseling, which didn't help. I decided to stay with him, but I'm miserable. I can't get over the fact that he cheated, and I bring it up all the time. I no longer trust him and wonder why I stay. I love him, and I don't at the same time. I feel stuck. I was married before, and I feel like a failure. I'm in good physical shape, financially successful, and loving. What went wrong? I always felt he was hiding something, but he swears he wasn't. He says this was the first time he's cheated on a woman. He was confused. I wish I had the courage to leave, but I feel defeated because I just turned 60. Please help.
Well, that's a big bucket of stuff.
Yeah.
To be honest, that I feel like we can't possibly do justice in a response in a forum like this, because like there's a million questions in there. But maybe if I can help with a few different things, we'll see if this helps get some things started. Somebody cheating on you it's always them. It's always them.
Mm-hmm.
Them not wanting to be around, in relationship and intimacy with you. I mean, maybe that's you. Maybe you got a terrible attitude and they just don't feel loving towards you. I mean, that's possible. But like the being with somebody else, that's entirely on them. You do not have to consider what you may have done or driven someone to.
Right.
Like they own that completely. And so it's hard because you want it to make sense. You want to be able, like, sometimes even when things hurt, you'd rather they make sense and hurt than not make sense, because like confusion actually amplifies problems like that. And so I get it, but like one of the things that is helpful in a situation like this one is to do your very best, and you're gonna have to write it down and look at it, because your mind's not gonna want to cooperate on some of this stuff. But like, be able to stare and say, look, their cheating is not my fault. It's not my responsibility. I did not cause them to cheat. I bear no responsibility here. There may be 1,000 other relationship things of which you may be responsible for in your own marriage, but I want you to like do your very best to draw a line here, because a person cannot be in intimacy with you and still not step out of their marriage, and so that's on them. So I get that doesn't feel like necessarily it's relieving something, but like. You want to treat your relationship issues for what they are, and like bringing another, because like when you start thinking about the actual what happened with somebody else, you're muddying waters. I know it doesn't feel that way, but like who the other person was, how long it went on, what they did, what they were thinking about, how he felt about it, doesn't matter. It just isn't. That's not as relevant than the things that are right in front of you on what is the health of your relationship. The second thing would be, and this is super difficult, but like you have no shot at finding and staying in a marriage of which you're going to bring this up all the time.
Yeah.
Now, you need to work through it. Did she say counseling? Did they go to counseling and it's not helping?
No, I don't think they said anything about counseling yet.
Okay, I thought she had said we
did.
Oh yes, we went to marriage counseling, which didn't help. Excuse me. I decided to stay with him, but I'm miserable.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
I'd ask why it didn't help, and I would encourage you to like this is not sustainable. Like something if it didn't help, then you either need to find someone else, or one of you needs to change your attitude about this counseling or something. But like you're not going to be able to, you're both going to be miserable as all get out if the rest of his life he feels like he's trying to do penance for something. I mean, he broke something, and it's gonna he's going to have to work to reestablish trust. That's definitely true. But like, if you're not going to be able to say yes, I want to move on. If every day, every other day, every week, you're not actually trying to move on from it, you're just kind of bringing it back in there. That's just he's not going to be able to recover from that.
Right.
It's not reasonable. Like this is where biblical forgiveness is just so wild freaking radical. It's just so outrageous in a situation like this, because the way that Jesus looks at forgiveness here doesn't even just go, hey, I want to forgive. He goes, I want to relieve pain from someone who caused pain to me. And like, it's outrageous. I hear you. That's why Jesus walks the earth and does these things, so that our notion of forgiveness doesn't fall lower than his human example, where we go, that much, that's what you're talking about? And it is. It means that like when you say something is cleaned up and like that we can move past this, you can't keep it in your back pocket. You can't bring it out all the time. You can't mention it to him. like, and just, oh, but remember when you cheated on me. Like, it just isn't going to work. And so, like, if you guys are trying to move on from it, you actually have to commit to moving on from it. You can't keep living on that, which may mean that you need to do separate counseling for you on working through what that means. Because just because I'm saying it, and just because it makes sense, and just because it's true, does not make it easy. But I will tell you that there's no way that your marriage is successful or ever comes into a place that both of you can enjoy if that is still looming as a shadow. It actually has to be. It has to be dealt with. That's where I'd start. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know that I'd expand any on that. I think you hit some pretty key areas there. Forgiveness is key. If you want it to continue, you have to forgive. You're causing yourself pain and him, and I mean, granted, he started it, but
Yep.
you have to work through that. You guess you just have to. So the struggle here is biblically, you do have the option to leave. I mean, he was unfaithful.
Mm-hmm.
But is that what you really? Apparently, that's not what she wants because she's there. She kicked him out, but then let him back in. It sounds like. So yeah, they just need to work on reconciliation and what that looks like and how that feels, and figure out what caused it in the first place. Why would he do that? He's old enough to know better.
Mm-hmm.
You know that they're neither one of them are young. They've been around the block a couple times. So yeah, work this out.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I would prepare for, but like, I think what you need to know is he also committed? She didn't say, I guess, is he committed to staying in this marriage? Is he
But he is. He's there. I mean,
Yeah, he's present, and they went to counseling.
I mean, is it because he doesn't have anywhere else to go?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
it'd be hard to put up with all the, hey, you remember what you did?
that's
It's like,
true.
I mean, at some point you're like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, and I
mean-
would say this, and like, I this is tough to hear, I'm sure, but like, you can't stay in there him just out of guilt either.
Right.
Like, I'm just the question isn't like, you're never going to. Here's the sad part of it. Nothing is ever going to set this right. No amount of contrition on this man's part is going to take away the fact that it happened. It just is not. That's true for sin in general. Now let it roll to a microcosm sitting in this marriage. And so, like, and you as a person on the other side of this thing, it's going to feel good at times to see him feel crappy and feel guilty. But it is not the road to a healthy marriage. If you want something back that just has the possibility to be better and stronger than it was, it just does. It starts with the fact that, like, you cannot base it upon, well, now I have this over him and he looks and feels guilty and I can use it whenever I want to. That's not a healthy marriage, and it never will be. And it can't. It doesn't start now and get better. It just does not grow from there. It dies there. And so I know it. I was sorry. This is just on my mind because I think we were just talking through it recently when we were talking through some of the Beatitudes, and just like the notion of peace and the notion of mercy and forgiveness. It's way more than you think, and it's hard. It's hard work because it turns over control for what has hurt you over to Jesus, and says, not only do I expect him to take care of it, but I also am absolving myself of having to be the recompense for it. I don't push thumbs and wounds to teach people lessons. God does judgment, and I think God can use guilt. I think I think it's his realm. It's not a people realm to do. God can lay burdens on people's hearts that because he won't let go of them to get them to come to attention. Absolutely. But humans, I think we can't handle it. I think we can't handle the right judgment part, and I think we cannot handle guilt correctly. And so I don't deal in it. Well, I try my best. I'm bad at it. Actually, this is one place I catch myself. I'll do it, and I don't even want to do it, but I'll notice it myself. And so what I'm saying is that, like, it can't be, do I feel like I have the upper hand in this relationship? That's not a healthy marriage. If you want a healthy marriage, you're going to have to figure out how to work on what is true between the two of you going forward, and use this as a springboard to correct the things that otherwise made him feel justified in this. He's wrong, like I said, but there have to be some relationship. Well, actually, I take that back. Oftentimes, and this is true for, like, it's more often, I think, for men than for women, although I'm open to being wrong about this. But, like, sometimes guys they don't even have anything. They just followed an urge somewhere and acted stupid and acted foolishly. And, like, women, I think often want like there's something deeper. What did I need to change about myself? What went wrong in our marriage? And like there's just some guys in some situations where like there's just nothing you could have done. They weren't even, they're not rebelling against something. They're not turning from something wrong that you were or are or did, or they're not even unhappy. They're just wrong. And it's hard to conceive that people can behave this way, but it is men. They're just prone to wrongness and foolishness. And so I'm guessing that there's some things that even outside of this probably need repaired, or have before this even happened in the marriage. And so those are the things to focus on. I know the cheating part seems like the big thing, but the reality is, if you care about the future, I would try to, without moving. I'm trying to be sensitive here that I'm not just saying it's not nothing, but like you're gonna have to be able to commit to moving past it. Otherwise, you just won't move past it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Secular says, you are not a failure. Your husband is. The surest way to find out what went wrong and begin rebuilding your self-esteem would be to discuss this entire scenario by yourself with a licensed marriage and family therapist. The reasons you haven't left this marriage may be that you are self-conscious about your age or think nothing is worse than being alone. Life does not end at 60, and this is worse than being alone.
Yeah, if it had that answer, that guidance has no hope in it.
Right.
And I don't know enough to know whether that's the case. But I mean, there's always hope.
Yeah, that's a coroner report waiting to happen. Is all they're suggesting.
Yeah, I think God. Some of this stuff is debilitating, and like what it does to people and how they think about themselves is very. That's why I started where I started. Is that like it's just as much as you can see and think, and again, put it on paper. This is not. I'm not responsible for this. This person makes their own decisions. Like it's very difficult not to feel like it's at you,
right?
Because it feels like they're cheating, not just with someone else, but against you. I'm just trying to create some space for man behavior that sometimes it ain't even remotely against you. Right. It's just flat out selfish. I find that with just talking with various fellas, to be honest, about pornography. Same deal. It's not. They're not unhappy. They're not unsatisfied in their sex lives. They're not struggling with like they don't like their wife or they're not attracted to their wife. Like it's not that. It's just something else. It's a curiosity. It's a selfishness. It's like something other than that. And I mean, some of those fellows could not have been being honest, but like it's a pretty consistent pattern.
Right.
And so I think it goes into the realm of cheating as well.
Okay. You want another one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Dear Live from the Path, I am a 55-year-old male with 5 siblings ranging from 45 to 63 years of age. I'm the only one who is single. I don't live close to any of them, although they live reasonably close to each other. I'm in regular contact with all of them and see them at least once a year. My issue is that I'm tired of hearing about all their family drama. They all seem to be upset with one family member or another for whatever ridiculous reason. How can I remind them that having each other around is a blessing? Living alone on the other side of the country is, admittedly, very lonely. I plan on retiring in the next couple of years and had always thought I'd move closer to them, but now I'm afraid of becoming one of the pawns in their who are we all mad at this month game. Any advice?
But you don't have to participate.
It can't be that easy.
I mean,
there's no way it could be that easy.
Wherever you live. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I wouldn't let that stop you from moving.
Yeah, if you want to move. But
yeah.
if this is the thing that stops it,
that's
fine
lame.
too.
And if you don't want to, then come up with a better reason.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, I like the weather here. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, be a snowbird in Florida.
Yeah. There's always drama. There's families have drama, and there's lots of family members, and you just, you don't have that, so you're great, you're blessed that way, but you don't have to participate. It's really that simple. It really is. I can't think of anything deeper. Just don't. When they start doing the drama, just say, yeah, I'm not interested. Thanks. I mean, I like Joe, and so I don't need to hear anything that's going to make me think otherwise.
Yeah.
Change the subject.
Yeah, that's it is different. Actually, this goes to something we were talking about just before the show started. Is that like, it's hard to be a person in a situation where people are trying to stir up drama and to hold the line and just go. No, it gets awkward, right? Because like sometimes just drama loves company, just like misery. And people like especially when it comes to families, they tend to like one up each other on who's got the most drama, siblings, and you're like, it's okay, yeah, it's okay to bail. But here's where I'd be careful: is that like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just don't participate in the drama.
Yeah.
Right.
Stick to questions that aren't drama things. Hey, how is so and so doing, or whatever. And then once it screws into drama, it goes, okay, well, I'll be honest, I don't really care about that part. Like it's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
People will catch on eventually that you're not here for drama.
And that's true everywhere. I mean, at
Yeah.
work, the neighborhood gossip. Any setting where there's people, there's gonna be people who want drama, and you can completely choose to just not play the game.
Yeah, and it drives them nuts when you do it, but it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
like,
fine.
It's
Why-
fine.
why-
Put that
why?
fence up and hold it. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like people who are doing that, it tends to be more personal type of information, and it feels like you're rejecting something sensitive to like not engage in that conversation. But like it's just you just don't have to. If it's not fruitful for them and it's not
Exactly.
fruitful for you, then you don't have to feel like you don't have to do it. And people will be offended by that. Like just be prepared that like, oh, so and so was standoffish to me, or someone so doesn't ever like have deep conversations with me. But like, you have to be comfortable in your own reality to be able to say, no, I just rejected getting in the middle of a conversation of which I don't belong and which is not healthy and which is either straight up gossip or drama, and I'm not going to do it. And you're going to have to be okay with it. And it's hard. I've been on the other side of it. It's hard.
Yeah, and you're not being unloving by not being willing to do that. You're actually being loving by not being willing to be in conversations that are destructive and that are just causing fires.
Yes. Yep.
That's all it is. So
Yeah. So yeah, it's okay. Just do your best. I mean, like have as healthy of a relationship as you will. Don't miss out on these relationships and with people just because of that type of behavior. But just know where your line's at, draw it, and keep it.
I dig it. Secular says, few families are completely free of issues, but successful ones manage to maneuver around them. Reminding your siblings how fortunate they are to have each other so close geographically should be raised privately with each of them, so you can explain your reasons for saying it. It might be the wake-up call they need. Use the next 2 years to decide where you want to live without being too close, and plan on cultivating relationships outside the family through activities you enjoy, so you are not completely dependent on them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant that the proximity is that big of a deal. Like
Right.
unless you're living in their basement or next door. If you're even 5 minutes away, what do you think they're all going to get together in a
Right.
drama bus and come to your house and
You
knock
can
on
live
the door?
across town and not see somebody. It's not that hard nowadays.
Totally.
It's really not.
Yeah. Yeah, heck, I mean, you could live next door to someone and still not run into them all the time.
Yeah, DoorDash a lot, and there's a bunch of delivery for groceries. You never have to run into each other at the fairway.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not so much worried about the proximity. I think you need to set the boundaries wherever you're at, whether
Absolutely.
it's phone, holidays, whatever. Just hold them and keep them.
Yep.
Okay, let's do one more.
Okay, one more. Dear Live for the Path. While my sister was incarcerated, she was evicted from her residence.
Yeah.
She asked me if I would pack her belongings and store them for her in my garage for a couple of weeks until she got out,
Okay.
which I did. Well, a couple of weeks turned into a couple of months.
Always does.
She's out now, living here and there, and looking for a job or a permanent place to stay. In the meantime, her belongings are still in my garage. It's taking up considerable space and starting to smell.
What?
I need to prep my house as I plan on selling it in the near future. I constantly ask about her removing her belongings and what her plans are, but she doesn't seem concerned about them and no longer communicates with me. During our last conversation, I gave her 2 weeks to get a place to move them or I would dispose of them. She said she'd get back to me, but hasn't. She doesn't seem to want to get a job or take responsibility for herself or her stuff. I feel she's being inconsiderate and selfish. I know she has some keepsake items in the boxes. I hate to dispose of them, but I cannot store her stuff much longer. What should I do?
Okay. I think there's. Well, hold on. I have some thoughts. What do you guys think?
How selfish
Yard
is
sale.
this
Yard sale.
But there's keepsakes, Nathaniel.
Well, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like
Precious
photo
moments.
albums?
Precious moments and photo albums.
Yeah. No one's gonna buy those at a yard sale anyway. So just if it's like one album, keep it. Hang on to it for when old sis gets her life back on track. And if it's like a bunch of photo albums, like she doesn't need all that anyways. So keep the good ones.
Nathaniel's trying to take a very logical approach to this.
Just rest.
He draws a hard line.
Yeah, it's like get that stuff out of your garage.
Like you
it
have
stinks.
You have summer 97 and summer 99. You don't need summer 98 too.
Yeah.
Exactly. You barely changed. I mean, if you grew a foot during that month or a summer, maybe keep it. But
Interesting.
you know,
Okay.
I want to know what's smelly. Is it food? is it clothes? I mean, get rid of all that stuff. Get rid of any organic matter.
Yeah.
But you can hold on to some
Yeah.
keepsakes. It
I
can't
kept
be
your
that
poinsettia
much.
for 2 seasons now.
Well, it's just kind of weird. Like, the first thing I thought of when she said it's starting to stink is most likely the other direction. Like her stuff, my garage is starting to cause her stuff to smell like a garage.
Right.
Like, otherwise, it doesn't start to stink after a few weeks. Like, it
Yeah.
either stunk when it got there.
That comforter went moldy.
Yeah, right.
That bag of potatoes.
Why did you pack the cottage cheese? It's a weird deal. You just throw that away.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think there are multiple things that are true at the same time in here that can go together. The first one is I'm confident that this person is overreacting about the space in the garage.
It's a considerable amount.
She's just itchy. She just is worried.
She's feeling used.
Yes, that's right. She's feeling used, but it's not. What is she walking into the garage every day and go? I can't believe this stuff is there. Like it's probably not inconveniencing her. To Dan's point, yes, she's feeling used and she feels like she's being taken advantage of, and she feels like she's being disrespected, and so she's created an arbitrary urgency. Like, I'm going to put my house on the market soon. I'm sure
In the near future.
yeah, whatever. And so she's amping that up to try to push something that this nonchalant, irresponsible sister of hers is not particularly worried about. So, one, she's overreacting. Two, she has every right to say, you can't keep your stuff at my place.
Right.
She can do, like, every right to do that. I would say, however, if you know that your sister is not in the right mind, let's say you're just the more logical party, you're the more thoughtful party, you got your life together, sometimes it behooves you to protect people from themselves. And so, like, I've been in situations, well, actually very, very similar situations. Like, I've constantly had people's stuff stored somewhere at my house, and, like, you know, I had to walk by it and go, this stuff is still sitting here. Now, where is it at? In my basement, on the side of the garage. It's not bothering me at all, to be honest, except for this person is taking advantage and not caring that they are using up spaces, and it sucks, and it's irritating. But, like, I also know if this person is kind of the situation that she's explaining, could be drug use, could just be flat out irresponsibility. Like, at some 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, when they get themselves clean and straightened out, are they going to regret having not held on to something? Probably. And if you know that, can't you just do it for them? Can't you go, look, I'm not keeping your old bedstand, and I don't care about these blankets. These things you're going to care about whether you realize it or not. And so because I love you, I'm going to probably move them out the garage. I'll put them in the basement. And that's where I'm going to put them. That's good. And so you can do both. It's okay to draw a hard line if you want to, but like I'd just go ahead and keep some things that you know you're protecting them from, and then things that are just junk. You know, if you think there's a reasonable trajectory that they're going to leave, then I'd hold on to them as long as you possibly can. If they're not really bothering you. If you think they're just jacking around and they're never going to come get the stuff, then, I mean, it's okay to put them to it and go, hey, I'm going to get rid of this stuff. You got 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, get rid of it. It's okay. It's okay. Because, like, here's the thing. Most folks who are living that kind of transient stuff, like, they probably should get new stuff anyway.
Right.
Like, their stuff isn't very good. And so, like, there's no reason to hold on to it. And so if you care about it, come get it. If
Right.
not, I'm going to get rid of it. And they're probably like, I actually probably don't care. And it's fine.
True. And for the wayward family member, you got to realize that bed frames and nightstands are a lot easier to get than you think. Like, toss it, and in 5 years when they come to you and go, hey, do you still have my stuff? You go, no, but, like, we can go to Goodwill real quick
That's
and get
right.
back
I'll help
literally anything that I threw away.
That's right.
Yeah, I knew you were going to be on the bender for a little while, so I tossed this deal.
Yeah.
I kept all your keepsakes. They're in a shed, or they're downstairs in the basement in the corner that I don't like to look at. But, when it comes to the mattress that was going to be gross by the time you got back to it, it's gone.
Yeah.
We'll get you a new one. No worries.
Yeah, and like even if you can even take an intermediate step if you have to and go, look, I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna go put it in a storage locker. I'm gonna pay for 2 months.
Yeah.
After that, like now it's kind of out of your hands because after 2 months, if you don't pay, like they'll just take it. and sell it
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Right.
And so you don't even have to take it to the
They can
dump
go
or anything.
auction for their own stuff at that time.
Yep. Yeah. So like, I mean, there's multiple ways to do this. I just know that multiple things can be true at the same time. It's okay to take a hard line on stuff that you know is junky. You don't have to take responsibility, but make sure you're not arbitrarily amping up the consequences just because you're pissed
Yeah.
because feel like you're being used, and recognize that you're dealing with someone who's probably. I mean, what you told me was they were in prison or incarcerated, came back, having trouble landing a job, maybe don't even seem particularly motivated to do one. Their life's going to be bouncy for probably a number of years here. And if you've got a solid head on your shoulders, it's okay to think lovingly about that, as opposed to bringing to bear every consequence of their misdeeds right now.
Bring
Because
the hammer
I'll
down.
tell you this, you're not proving anything to them. You think again, it's the thumb on the thing. You're not teaching. You think you're teaching them a lesson. You're not. You're not.
Yeah, you're making it worse.
That's right. So but it's okay to be, again, don't put the thumb on it. But if you go if you were putting your house up for sale and you did need the stuff out of there, it's okay to say that. You got 2 weeks. I got to get the stuff out. Come get it. Otherwise, I'm giving it away, and then give it away.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a thumb. That's a normal consequence. But it's like, hey, I'm thinking about sometime in the future, I may sell my house, and you got 1 week to come pick this stuff up. That's a thumb. You're just doing it
Right.
because you're mad.
It's a seller's market. Get this crap out of here.
And that's and think about it this way too. That's because part of that is that it's not healthy for you. The reason I think that human beings can't deal well with guilt is what it does to them.
Mhm.
One, we don't do it right, but two, the feeling of superiority that says I'm going to be the one that turns the screw. I'm going to be the one that makes them feel just a little bit worse about themselves for a little bit longer than they do naturally, just to make sure they learn the lesson. I don't know that doesn't create something good in you. That creates something black in you. I don't know how else to say it. It just creates something dark in you to have that sort of power over someone and to want to see it turned. And it won't feel near as bad as what I'm saying. You're like, that's how they learn their lessons. But I think it's not good for a human being to be in that position.
Yeah, you're not the teacher.
I just think it creates something negative in you, and so I don't think you can handle it properly, and so you shouldn't.
Okay. Secular says, inform your sister that if her things are not out of your garage by a certain date, that you will have them removed by a junk removal service. It isn't free, but it will solve your problem about readying your property for sale. End.
I mean,
Junk removal services are so expensive.
they are.
They are crazy expensive.
Make friends with a buddy with a pickup. That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Pay him in a pizza and beer,
Mm-hmm.
or even that. They're not your real friends if they require beer.
Here's the
Pizza's
deal.
fine.
Everybody who buys a pickup knows what they're getting into.
Truth. If you advertise that you got a pickup, you're advertising that your pickup
Yep.
is available for use.
That's right. You either keep it to your place and never drive it outside
Yes.
of your own yard. As soon as you drive it to the gas station to a friend's house, now everybody
And
knows.
If you have an old, busted-up F-150, everybody knows that it's already busted, so they can throw their real crap in.
Yeah, I'm going to remove rock. Where's that guy's truck?
That thing has a pickup.
Now-
I've got a bunch of junk from my sister, and
Dan,
it smells bad.
You have a relatively recent truck. Do you feel like are you getting roped into moving crap for people?
Not too often, really.
Yours is all right.
What?
Yeah, I mean, that's just everybody has trucks.
I had a truck
That's
for a year
also
and a
true.
half, and it was on the rent every weekend.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
Dan's
goodness.
right. There's a wide proliferation of trucks in the area, and so maybe just know someone else.
Yeah, then they know people who are less busy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well,
All right.
I can't do it this day or that day or that day or that day.
That's true. When I had my truck, I was just a college kid,
Yeah.
and so it made sense for people to just be like, "Hey, man, I need to use that truck." I'm like, "Crap."
I
fine."
just tend to swap. Like, you take my truck, you leave me whatever junk box you drive. It gets me out all kinds.
I
Like,
suppose that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I should have done.
yeah, that way I'm not tied up on like when I can do it.
I think the situation is they'd look at me and they go, "That guy's got a truck and can lift whatever I need to put into it.
Yeah,
Can you pick up a fridge by yourself?" Oh, kinda.
I need to move a Davenport.
Yeah,
Are you
exactly.
available?
Yeah, you can throw that in the back. Take care of it.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, you've been listening to Live from the Path. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I very much appreciate it. Now, listen, you remember from was it a week ago? Last show, we're trying to frame up for this 500th Live from the Path episode. So, if you've got any stories, ways that the show has impacted you, positive or negative, because I think the negative ones are funny. Like, I'm a worse person for having taken this in. I think that's fine. You should just say that. Do it to the complaint
Please
line.
tell us that.
515-517-0085. If you want to go so far as taking a quick clip of yourself as a video, then that's fine. That would be great. I think we can incorporate that. But Obviously, if you've got good things to say, that's exciting. But anything's workable and usable, I think. So if you want to do that just in preparation for a compilation on the 500 show, that's coming right up. I think we've got maybe 10 more episodes. I'll have to look at my count. 10 more episodes, something like that. So coming right up. And so we'd love to hear from that. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.